So for the Umami Punch tofu lettuce wraps, I'm starting with a very firm tofu out of water. Although it's very firm, you want to squeeze out as much liquid as possible. Very simply, take 2 or 3 layers of paper towels, surround this tofu, and just put like a weight on it, like a plate. And in about 20 minutes, this is what you've got. And you know you're in good shape if you're pressing and you're not seeing any residual moisture on the board. I'm just wanting to cut this into small cubes. So if you remember the Jet Tila rhyme, a tile becomes a slice becomes a dice. So I'm gonna start half. I'm gonna half the half now. This way we get nice symmetrical cuts. Put them on their side, and now we can half them yet again. So tile becomes a slice, which is this. And then the slice becomes no, you got it, a dice, exactly right. So, boom, and there you go. All right, I'm gonna show you a classic breading station. It's a 3-step method. We're gonna start with AP flour, that's all-purpose flour. The next bowl is going to be whole egg, which we will whisk ourselves. This is how it's gonna work, right? Your raw protein, which in this case is tofu, and we're actually gonna dredge it in the flour, and that'll basically help everything else stick to it. Then we're gonna go egg to kind of create that glue layer, and then after that, we're gonna go into the panko. But before we go into the panko, we gotta make it more exciting. And the way we're gonna do this is to add the umami punch into this, and this basically just reinforces or fortifies, whatever culinary term you wanna use, the panko. We're not just getting texture, we're getting incredible flavor, because in the umami punch, we've got gochujang, which is Korean pepper paste. We've got citrus, I've got honey, and we've got a ton of garlic and sesame, but adding it to panko, it's gonna make these like crispy nuggets totally next level. Again, first layer of the triple crunch station is going to be flour. So I'm just rolling the tofu in flour. And what I'm gonna do is knock off the excess, get it into the egg. You can do this in batches. The egg is going to bind to that flour and create a nice kind of sticky layer. And then that sticky layer is going to attach to our umami punchy crispy bits. So I'm gonna give each one its own little room inside here before I start to mix it up. And this can be done well ahead of time. If you're making a breading station, this could be done ahead, put on a sheet, put in a refrigerator, and then when you're ready to fry, you've got perfectly coated either tofu or chicken here. And so check that out, they're perfectly coated. They live by themselves. They can be put away in the fridge until I'm ready to fry. So it's time to deep fry. A few tips for you is use a neutral oil. Peanut, canola, grapeseed, they're all really good. I like to get my oil up to 365, 370, because most of this food comes from the refrigerator, so when it hits the oil, you're always gonna lose temperature. So if we start around 370, we end up frying around 350. For most dishes, if you're serving, let's say 2 to 4 people, I'll always say 3 to 4 inches of oil, because I don't really know if you're cooking in a 6-quart or an 8-quart or a 10-quart. So if you have something at least say 9 to 11 inches wide, and you have a little depth, 3 to 4 inches of oil is really nice. And you also wanna make sure your oil level is about halfway or right under halfway, because things tend to boil and the amount of oil actually raises up the more stuff you have in there. All right, so for tofu, now tofu is obviously gonna cook a little differently. It's not like chicken where it comes from an animal, what we call potentially hazardous foods. So all I'm concerned about is getting the perfect crust on this tofu, right? I'm not worried about having to cook the protein to a safe temperature. We wanna make sure here that you're getting in to kind of move the tofu around so you get even coating, and you're just looking for that GBD crust. It's gonna happen a lot faster than the chicken. This is also another great solution for a fried chicken. Right, I'll coat chicken in the umami punch. I'll coat, plant-based strips in the umami punch. It really is that perfect crust and coating that gives you a ton of flavor. So as you can see, we drained it on a paper towel-lined plate. All right, so it's time to put these umami punch lettuce wraps together. I'm not for lettuce, butter lettuce is fine, but green leaf is very traditional. Samjang is the paste that you would actually put on the meat. We've actually incorporated it into the spice, and that's the beauty of this here. And I'm all about odd numbers, right? I think it just looks better on a plate. People aren't chasing that symmetry. Odd looks really nice. All right, let's remind people that this is delicious Korean food, so a little kimchi. I am a absolute chili head. I love spice on everything, so I'm gonna add a little more chili paste to these. If you're not into it, that is also very cool. Another thing you do is add the spice to mayo. It creates a really nice kind of creamy texture. What else do I want? Little peppers. Beautiful. I'm going to hit this with a little bit of scallion, or a lot of bit of scallion. And then finally, a little acid over the top. Oh yeah, that is awesome. All right, there it is, friends. The Umami Punch lettuce wraps. Hope you enjoy this, hope you eat this. I know I'm gonna eat this right after this. So there it is, Umami Punch lettuce wraps.